Hearty fraternal greetings and good wishes. We have briefly understood the activity of the senses, who are the messengers between man and objectivity. If the sensations and the senses do not exist, we cannot relate to the objectivity. To relate to objectivity gives us experience. But in your relating to the objectivity, if you develop bondages, then it is a negative experience. So ultimately, the one whom we call God, in so many steps, he descends up to the objectivity. The God Absolute is the original state. It gets, from out of it there is an awakening. Awakening is the second state. The awakening details into a triangle of forces, which is called the spiritual triad. That is the third state. From out of this triangular activity, billions and billions of beings are formed. The beings are the products of the God Absolute only. The difference between the beings and the God is that God is above the three qualities. God is above the nature. The beings are conditioned by the three qualities and are conditioned by the nature. That's the difference. One is beyond the triangle, the other is below the triangle. So having come, the beings, in them there is called, what is called? The light of God as wisdom. So the being is expected to experience the creation with the light of God which is in him. With this light, he reflects into the world through the mind. And to reflect into the world, he gets to the senses and he experiences the outer world with the help of the body, the senses and the sensations. So that's how he descends vertically and travels horizontally into the world. So this is a regular process that happens daily. Now for man to live in freedom, to enjoy the creation, the splendor of the creation, he should know how to function in it When he does not know how to function in it, he binds himself. So these are the steps: God Absolute, then the awareness, then the triplicity of the awareness, then the beings, then the light in the being that guides it, then the mind, then the senses, and then the body, and relating to the outer. Yeah. When we relate to the outer, we don't have the right understanding as to how to relate. We try to develop relationship. To relate is for the moment. To develop a relationship is to develop an interlock system. I try to lock you in me and you try to lock me in you. A man and a woman come together. They try to relate to each other. If it is that much, each one has his freedom. The man tries to lock the woman with his expectations. The woman tries to lock the man with her expectations. This is what is called trying to hook the other. So I hook you and you hook me. Is ignorance. I live and I let you live around me. Likewise you live and you let me live around you. Let us not cause this interlocking and interhooking. The parents also try to hook the children. The children want to escape from it. The teacher wants to hook the students. The students don't want to get hooked. So, nobody would like to be hooked. Yes. But we get hooked to many things in the outer without knowledge. To many habits. Today we have a food. It is for the day. To expect the same food tomorrow is already a process of suffering. This is how people, through their anticipations and expectations, cause suffering to themselves. Today I see you, tomorrow also I expect to see you. Whenever there is expectation, there is problem. Why can't you live with that which is existing today? We don't try to live in the present and experience what is in the present. See, there are two coordinates in the creation. One is time, another is space. In time and space, an event happens. To expect similar event to happen is already a kind of conditioning. We had a group life and we have a group life now. To expect this group life to be exactly like the previous group life would cause problems in the mind. Yes. What is now, you better experience. This afternoon we have the spalla food. Yes. So tomorrow also to think of having it will deny the pleasure of having it even today. That's how man, instead of experiencing, he develops expectations. If you have seen something today, experience it. To expect to see the same thing again tomorrow or some other time in future is a kind of internal hooking or locking situation. We don't know if similar situation arises or not. Just live for the moment and experience it. The senses, they give, as I said before, a temporary experience. The memory relating to this experience is retained in the lower mind. And in the mind, we have good experience, memory of good experiences, memory of bad experiences. So in the mind we have a program. To long for those experiences which were good for us, which is a desire. And then to deny the kind of bad experience we had before, which is also a desire. Desire is positive, desire is negative. I want is desire. I don't want is also desire. Many people think if he doesn't want, it is not a desire. Not wanting is also desire. But if you see life, what you don't want also comes to you. What you want doesn't come to you many times. Is it not? We don't want certain things in life, but they come and say hello to you. We want certain things to happen. They don't happen. So your wanting or not wanting has nothing to do in the whole scheme of things. We want health. We don't want ill health. But we get ill health. At least some throat ache, cold, headache, stomach problem, something will come. So not wanting or wanting, both are ignorance. We want to grow into light. We don't want to fall into ignorance. But what is happening? So what is important is to know your wanting or not wanting is least respected by nature. Man is continuously at fight. If he is engaged in this wanting and not wanting, every day is given, events are there. Know how to relate with the event. Experience the event. And that's all. Don't try to possess anything out of the event. That's how the Bible starts. Adam and Eve, they were asked to experience the garden of Eden. They wanted to have the fruit of the tree. The fruit of the tree is nothing but the fruit of your actions. When you look for the fruits of your actions, you are conditioned. That's why to relate to this world and not to be conditioned by this world, what is important is that you relate but do not develop any bondage. Things come to pass. Nothing stays permanently. As long as they are around you, experience them. Many times we fear losing them. Your fear of losing them itself will cause the necessary chain action to lose that which you don't want to lose. Yes. So this is how we have to understand the psychology relating to the world and you. You live and you do what is needed to be done relating to the objectivity. But do not develop bondage with the objectivity. That is the fundamental doctrine if you wish to be at rest. If we have done harm to someone, it is because he did not respond to our expectations. We keep hurting people in different ways if they don't respond to our expectations. That is himsa. Harmlessness is the contrary. Buddha speaks of ahimsa. Don't we try to twist the tail of people who don't listen to us? Cause some inconvenience to them, discomfort to them. Yes. Don't we do such things? A man who does not like his woman, he tries to twist her here and there, emotionally. Yes. Or if possible, physically also. Why? Because You have a set patterns of expectations and you want others to respond to your expectations. Likewise, the woman also has expectations about you. So, this game of each one responding to others' expectations is in a way boring. Each one feels obligated to the other. Anything done in obligation does not give us pleasure. Anything that flows from us naturally gives us pleasure. If I give you food, I get pleasure. You too get pleasure. If it is an obligation that I have to give you food, slowly the pleasure is lost in me. And if you have to eat the food which I give you, the pleasure is also lost for you. This is how the expectations cause disappointments in life. And the whole life is built on expectations. That's the whole problem. From the childhood, proper education is not given. We are all bundles of expectations. And hence bundles of disappointments. When there are expectations, there are disappointments. My friend Veerbhadra Rao and his good wife have left their house to the 5 elements and decided to stay here so that he can see Mr. Kumar more, he can interact with Mr. Kumar more and more. That's the expectation. But Mr. Kumar will be always moving here and there, either in India or outside India. And they may not find me so many times as they expect. Then the disappointment comes. We came for him. He is not available. We left our house there. God knows what is happening to it. So disappointment. Suppose I promise them that I will daily appear to them here, that we meet daily. That promise is a hook. Yes. I can't go out. Yes. So these expectations and responding to expectations cause obligations. We keep obliging each other with love. That's all. Be it man and wife, be it father and children, any relation with anything should be freely flowing, but not on the basis of well settled, crystallized obligations. Mind settles down to such expectations, and hence disappointments happen. And when the events are expected to happen at a particular time, and if they don't happen, also there are disappointments. Delay. What is delay? Delay is nothing but your own preconceived notion that an event should happen at a time. Things don't happen according to what you plan. All the time. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. So delay and disappointment both are due to expectations. Keep doing what is to be done in a given situation. That is the fundamental law. Keep doing what is to be done in the present. That's the fundamental law. Have no expectations. Students study to get good percentage of marks. That means they are studying for examination, not for the sake of study. If they study for the sake of study, they assimilate the subject studied. And examination is not a problem. But if we have the examination in view and study, a part of you is drawn away into expectation of good performance in the examination. So you are not fully devoted to that which you do. You are not fully focused to that which you do. If you are cooking food, I know many of you don't. You prefer to buy and eat. Let us assume that you cook. You wish to cook in such a manner that people feel happy with the taste. If you are engaged in cooking totally devoted to the knowledge of cooking, the food would be inevitably tasty. But if you cook with an anxiety, if people would like it or not, will it be tasty or not, especially a very important friend, very important guest is coming home, we have anxiety. Anxiety of good cooking, tasty food, that takes a part of you away from you. So you will mess up one thing or the other. So that is how you will mess up one thing or the other. Likewise, if suppose you are a healer and you heal people, and generally healing happens well with you. Suppose the Prime Minister of your country comes to you for healing. He is also a human being. But you don't feel so, no? He is Prime Minister. But this man is very important. He must be healed. So there is no must be healed. If it happens, it happens. See, if you go beyond your functional area of healing on the basis of the persons, their status, then a part of you is not working for healing. Many doctors fail to treat special cases. Normal cases are very easily cured. Special cases are not cured so easily. Because the speciality of the person who comes to the doctor affects the doctor himself. There is an expectation in the doctor that he should be cured. At any cost he should be cured. But then your curing becomes costly. Sometimes the person who is treated by you is not properly handled. You may lose your position also. That's why it is said the doctors may be able to cure many in the village or in the town, but they are no good doctors to his wife and children. The wife goes and takes medicine from some other doctor. Why? Because, is it so with Aurora, Edgar? Does she take medicine from your father? So, it is your feeling, though, this is my wife, I have to cure her. Or the feeling that this is my son, I must cure him. Gives greater anxiety, greater expectation of cure, and cure does not happen. You are a painter. You may be painting very good pictures. But when it comes to painting, you are a very dear person. You may not be able to paint well. I am saying all this only to tell you one thing. If you do anything with expectation, it will not be up to your normal talent. So, the first and fundamental lesson in life is just keep doing. That's the mantra. Yeah. You see the mantra on the advertisement for the Nike shoe. It says, just do it. Just do it, that's all. That means you have to justly do it also. To doing it justly means don't do more, don't do less. Doing more has problems. Doing less has problems. Just do it. I have no expectations. If you have expectations, you would overact. If you have indifference in doing, you would underact. So if you underact, there are consequences. If you overact, there are consequences. If you act as much as you should and don't expect to eat the fruits of your doing, such a doing does not bind you. This is the fundamental law of doing. Yes. Be sequential in your activity, but not consequential. If you overact, it will create consequences and bind you. If you underact, it will create consequences and will bind you. It is true in every aspect of life. If you overeat, it has consequences. If you don't eat at all, it has consequences. Eat as much as is required. Likewise, with all the five senses, you should know what is the just proportion. You should also know not to look for a repeat performance. It happened now, an event. So don't expect the same event to happen again. It may not. So why do you create a suffering through expectation? This knowledge is important when you relate to the outer world. Just do it. That is how your horizontal movement will not bind you out there. We are all bound into the objectivity. The objectivity does not release us from it. That's why most of us, even if we were close our eyes to think of the inner light, we cannot. Why? Because the mind goes into objectivity only all the time. Even if we close our eyes, we go to Germany, Spain, Belgium, or we get into yesterday's events, or tomorrow's expectations. About so many things, mind puts you out into objectivity but doesn't get into the vertical column in you. This is because we have related excessively to objectivity and developed bondage with the objectivity. You are now here. Your dear ones are in Europe. There is no point in thinking about them now. By thinking about them now, you only suffer more and more. Suppose you think of your very dear person who is in Europe now. Then you will start counting the days. It is only 10th August. And the damn thing doesn't move when we are in expectation. It is still 10th August. It is like that. But for the one who lives here and now, such a person feels, oh, it's already 10th August? What a pity. To one it is too fast, to one it is too slow. This is how we create our own illusions around what exactly is happening. To some people, this class concludes too fast. To some people, it is such a bore. They feel, when will this man stop? Will he ever stop? And they get reconciled to something like 8 o'clock. They have an expectation that I concluded at 8 o'clock at least. So it's all our mindset. This is because of the same situation that we don't live in the present. We live in our expectations, in our dreams. To overcome this, you should know how to do. Unless you know how to do, Doing causes problems. The first lesson is just do it. That is Karma Yoga. The second lesson is how to do. That is Jnana Yoga. The people who mastered life they found out certain ways of doing. The best thing to do, what to do and how to do is keep doing that which is beneficial to others. Without expectation. If I keep doing what is beneficial to you without expecting anything from you, I remain free. I remain free. If I do with expectations about your future performance, I may be disappointed. Or if I do all this for money, then it has consequence of eating the money of such young children like you. Just do it. It is asked, just do it. That's all. Then I am free. This is how the CS started doing things. Christ did it. He healed. For what? He just healed, that's all. He taught. For what? He just taught, that's all. He shared. So he was not obliged to anyone. And he is loved by everyone. It's a man who keeps doing acts of benefits to others and does not seek anything in return. He is the one who is in a better placement of joy because he remains unobliged. There is no obligation for him. There is no obligatory karma. Krishna tells Arjuna, my dear Arjuna, I am not obliged to fight for you. I am not obliged in this life to anyone because I have not taken any obligation from the other. He even goes to say, I am not obliged in these three worlds, he said. Three worlds means the world of consciousness, world of force, world of matter. In all these three worlds, I am not obliged to anyone. But I keep helping people because it gives me joy. I just keep helping and no one can demand help from me. You can't demand from a person who did not seek any obligation from you. Can you? That's the freedom. So you stay in freedom and be responsible to people around. Not because you are obliged, but because there is joy in such responsibility. You help a poor brother, co-born. It is somewhat obligatory. The younger brother expects that damn well this man has to help me. So you help him, but he takes it as his right. And he makes you feel that you are obliged to help him. You help a commoner to whom there is no obligation, you get better joy. I give this example. Help done on obligatory basis, it has no joy. Help done on a voluntary basis has greater joy. That's why doing is considered of two types. Doing for oneself, doing for others. Doing for others has greater joy. That is knowledge. Doing for others what they need is important. What you want to do is different. What they need is another thing. Because you want to help others, don't help the way you want. Help them the way they want. Help them the way they would be happy. Help them the way that they needed, the areas where they are needed to be helped. It's not what you want or what they want, but what they need. Yes. A drunkard is happy if we give him a bottle of whiskey. That's not a help. That is what he wants, but not what he needs. It's not good for him. That's why giving cigarettes, giving alcohol as gifts are not considered acts of knowledge. Giving Bible, giving Bhagavad Gita are also not considered as acts of knowledge. Is he looking for Bhagavad Gita or Bible, or you want to give a Bible or Bhagavad Gita? What you think good may not be good to him. This afternoon you are all coming to my house for lunch. Yes. I like freshly made pickle, let us suppose. So I keep serving you the pickle all the time. Tomorrow the retreat center will become a nursing home. So trying to do things to others which you like is meaningless. Trying to do things which they like is meaningless. Trying to do things which they like is also meaningless. It's not like or dislike. Trying to do what is needed for the other. That is knowledge. By that he is happy and you are happy. That is the second step relating to knowledge. People may be wanting so many things. What he needs is important to know. In this context of trying to know what others need and helping them, in that process you develop certain qualities or virtues. First thing is harmlessness. In your interaction with beings, do not cause any harm, either physically, emotionally or mentally. It doesn't have good consequences on you. You should not be the cause for others' suffering. That's the fundamental doctrine. And not to speak in a manipulated manner. Don't be manipulative in your speeches. That's the second quality. Then the third quality is, don't try to thieve anything relating to the others. As you keep helping people, they feel obliged to you. So slowly you start thieving. Thieving means making him feel obliged to give his personal things to you. Suppose I see Donna writing with a blue pen. Every time I say, oh, it's a beautiful pen. Every day if I say the same thing, she feels obliged. Master Kumar would like to have this pen. So one day she gives it to me. Then I make a pretentious face, oh, why are you giving this to me? Okay, if it pleases you, please give me. And you will immediately grab it and put it in your pocket. This kind of thieving others' property has consequences. If you hurt others, it has consequences. If you manipulate your speeches, it has consequences. If you intelligently thieve others' property, it has consequences. The normal thieves are unintelligent thieves. The normal thieves are unintelligent thieves. The most intelligent thieving is big business. They make you believe and part with your things to them. And then you also have to know that you cannot accept things free. If someone offers you something, you have to ask yourself, do you deserve it? How do you deserve to receive a favor from someone? Will you be able to repay in terms of some help, or have you done enough to receive a gift from others? These are all the intricacies given to see that you don't get for nothing obliged and incur karma, and to see that you don't create consequences out of your actions. That's how these Buddha's ahimsa has come to be. Yes. The truthfulness that the scriptures demand has come to be. Do not thieve has come to be. And do not receive excessive obligations has come to be. This is the way to release yourself from the world. And even for what you do, don't do it with expectations. Don't do it with a view to have the fruits of your action. They may come, they may not come, but we keep doing. This is how advanced way of doing is given. Then you are more or less relieved from the objectivity. Then you have the third step of practices of purity. In every religion there are practices of purity which would help you further to be magnetic and radiant. The purity you maintain on the physical, emotional and mental plane will enable you to experience the splendor of life better. Purer being experiences better splendor. Impure beings cannot experience splendor. What is purity? You should live in external purity to start with. External purity relates to abundant air, abundant light, and pure water. Today we live in houses where there is not much air. We don't let air pass in. We don't let sunlight to pass in. There are many rooms in the house which have to be electrified even during the day. That means they are dark rooms which do not receive light even during the day. So abundant ventilation is important. Breeze passing through the house is important. When it comes to internal purity, you should allow enough breeze to pass through your system. That is why working with breathing is a way for purification. And visualizing light is also a process of purification. Internally work with air and light. Externally expose yourself to air and light. This is one aspect of it. When internal light improves and internal life force improves, It clears our emotions. The most difficult emotion, as I told you, is the sex emotion. That has to be cleansed. Sex has a purpose in creation. It is given for procreation. Without such purpose of procreation, if you indulge in acts of sex, it will disturb you emotionally. That's why you should have a regulated sex life. Unregulated sex life has consequences on health, on thinking capacity. Your brilliance comes down, your health comes down, and you would not be able to really remain creative when you are excessively involved in sex. The energy which is useful for brilliance, which is also meant for health, is the same energy that is expended for nothing. It's like spending away energy uselessly. You have all come to this group life with certain money. You spend away the money uselessly, the rest of the tour becomes difficult. Likewise, energy spent away uselessly in sex will leave you bankrupt vis-a-vis your energy in the future. In the wisdom doctrine, sex is not prohibited. Nothing is prohibited in the wisdom doctrine. Wisdom doctrine says, have some sense of proportion and have some regulation. So by adopting to breathing exercises and contemplation upon light, you will raise your awareness into subtler planes, and you will not be succumbing to the sex energy. Yes. That's important. And then you keep on developing internal purity in terms of emotions and thoughts. Internally, if your thinking and if your emotions are clean, joy becomes your property. If people are not joyful, it is because they are not pure enough. This is what wisdom says. If I am not happy, if I am not joyful, it means I don't have the required degree of purity of thoughts and purity of emotion. That's why the religions speak of certain purity, but purity cannot come if your actions are otherwise. If your actions create consequences, and if all your actions are based on expectations, you cannot purify. The habits of purity also do not contribute to purity. That's why first we should know the science of action, the doctrine of action. That will give the basis. Then get into the practices of purity. People directly try to get into meditations and breathing exercises. They cannot progress with them. They remain a fashion. should follow things in an order. Yes. If you cause disorder, you cannot progress. Just like cooking has an order. Every work has an order. You have to do it in that order only. So disorderly way of doing things will not put you to progress. Freedom comes through order. Because freedom gives, the order gives you how to do. Order gives you what to do. Order gives you the impulse to purify. Where you take much water, expose yourself to breathing, expose yourself to light, and cleanse your mind. Entertain acts of goodwill in your mind. Entertain what you have to do right now. Such of those things will slowly put you in a position you are joyful for nothing. Some people are joyful. We need a cause to be they are causelessly joyful. That's why one master says joy is a special wisdom. Not all can have it. It's a special wisdom. In such joy, you would do things with far greater ease. In such joy, you read scriptures. Since you are already pure and you don't have enough obligatory karma, your ability to unlock the scripture would be much improved. So these are the fundamentals we need to pick up to be strong on the way for self-progress, self-transformation, and even self-realization. And only by practice they stabilize in you. Any number of times we listen to it, it would only give us the necessary impulse. Each time you come to know things, only to get the impulse. Until you act, you don't get the joy of it. That's why we need to work with certain regulations in life. The regulations are very simple and are not difficult for daily practice. You have to feel the need of it. Only if you feel the need of it, you will act. If you don't feel the need, you don't act. That's the problem. Most of us would like to know but do not yet feel the compulsiveness of getting into it. Unless you get it, you don't act. That's what I say. Unless you are hungry for wisdom, you will not act. Unless you are hungry for food, you will not come to the dining table. The child who is not hungry keeps playing in the field. Any number of times the mother calls him. He says, I am coming, but he will not. He is busy with the football. But if he is hungry, Even if the mother is otherwise busy, he will come and pester the mother to give food, to give milk. So the basis is the feel for the hunger, the hungry feeling, either for food or for wisdom. Do we have such hunger? If we are not that hungry, don't bother about it. If you feed even best food when you are not hungry, you don't digest it. That is why wisdom is not to be propagated. No publicity. No missionary work. No militancy. It is for those who are hungry for it. A hungry man will search for the hotel. Likewise, a person who is hungry for wisdom, hungry for truth, shall have to search for the school or the ashram and seek wisdom to satiate his hunger. This is how it is originally intended to be. Now with so much of media, everything is in publicity. There are not so many books on wisdom as we have today. And we have cassettes, video cassettes, publicity material, internet. Everybody is anxious to be known in the world as a man of wisdom. He works for 2 years and in the 3rd year he wants to have a website. Because the globe should know that there is such huge wisdom here. Why all that? Why all that? If someone is hungry, the nature will send that hungry man to a man of wisdom. And you should know that you are not the only man of wisdom on the globe. According to the hunger, people meet. So, if you are that hungry, get into wisdom. If you are not, and if you are happy with what you are, be happy with it. This I tell you very clearly and very repeatedly. Don't get into wisdom until the inner conscience pushes you towards it. Otherwise, you are neither here nor there. You can't be like others who are without this wisdom. You can't be like the ones who are with the wisdom. You are in suspended animation. That is horrible. If you are in this floor, you are okay. You are in the higher floor, you are okay. If all the time you have to live on the staircase, in between the 2 floors, is it a comfort? If you are stuck in the lift, if you are stuck in the lift, you are not either in this floor or in the other higher floor. Is it a comfortable situation? Most of us want to know wisdom because it is something great. It makes us great. But a major part in us has a lot of resistance to get into it. So we are like the unwilling bulls which are tried to be yoked to cultivate the field. If the bull is not willing for cultivation, you want to yoke it. So the bull finds many ways of getting away from it. So that is where the science of yoga in the very first statement says, if you are so hungry and so ready, just like a hungry man is ready to eat, a thirsty man is ready to drink. Likewise, if you are thirsty and hungry enough for wisdom, then yoga. Not until then. Not for a casual working. Casual working will result in casualties. You know, casualty in the medical sense is death. It's a casualty. It means he is in an emergency. He may pass away. So like that, casual approach doesn't give you anything. So if you are that hungry, and with that hunger, and to practice. Am I willing to take to this discipline? First you know what the discipline is. And ask yourself, is it possible that I can take to this discipline? Even an astronaut has to take to discipline if he is to go to moon or Mars. You cannot just go like this. Every accomplishment demands its own discipline. So too yoga or wisdom demands its discipline. If the very word discipline is averse to us, don't get into it. If you feel the need, get into it. Then it will work. My suggestion to all of you is read Mithila. Try to practice what is said in it. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. It's a book of 12 lessons that will directly take you up to meditate, which is already halfway through the process. And the other halfway is easier if the initial, the anterior part of the travel is well done. So let us pick up the threads from the very beginning and ask sincerely your own self, what for I want this? Number one. Do I really want this? Am I willing to follow the regulations of yoga? If answers to all this is yes, then you start translating the given knowledge into daily action. If not, it remains always some unattainable, elusive, alluring thing. Thank you. We will continue in the tour as the time is available to us.